Hello, everybody. Okay, there we go. Dr. Andi here. Welcome to tonight's Tuesday Q&A, live Q&A. It's September 19th, 2023, and I'm still working with my background. I got displaced out of my office and sharing with the hubby, and we want to get this fixed, but we're also waiting on a new window. So who knows when that's going to show up? Good old supply chain issues, or so they say, right? But welcome. It is Tuesday night live Q&A. I'm Dr. Andi Harper. I am a doctor of chiropractic and a certified animal chiropractor. I have been in clinical practice adjusting dogs for over 20 years. And so that is my specialty, chiropractic care, adjustments of your canine companion. So any questions you have on how maybe chiropractic can impact what's going on with your pet, pop them into the chat. I would love to go over some live questions. And if you are watching this on replay, welcome to Animal Magic. And tonight's live, and YouTube will let me know. So pop questions in the chat still, I think is what it's still called, right? And I would love to hear from you, and I will get those answered on the replay. So how awesome is that? Let's see. It is storming outside a little bit. So Crosby is with me in the room, so hopefully he'll behave himself. He has decided that, was it this year or last summer? Maybe a little bit last summer. I don't like the storms, Mom. I don't like the thunder. I am very grateful that usually he settles down if he's just in the room with me, or we've been having storms overnight, which is a little unusual for the Denver area. And I let him out of his kennel and he'll lay on the bed and he just settles down. So I'm very, very grateful for that. Some dogs, it's not that easy. Let me switch my live chat. Let me see. Can I get rid of my emoji? All the emoji things. I don't know. I want to make sure I'm seeing all the chat and all the questions that may come in. I don't know. I have all these emojis up here. It's really annoying. It's very distracting, all the emojis. And so I'm very grateful that that's what it takes to settle him down. I know there's a lot of pups out there that, go hiding, hide in the tub, have much bigger reactions. The rest of my pack don't care. So I'm also very grateful for that too. But I have heard from a lot of clients that a lot of this behavior starts a little later in life, 5, 6, 7. He was 6. He's 7.5 now. He'll be 8 in January. January 2nd, actually. And I remember hearing Dr. Dodds talk about this a long time ago, so I'm not going to remember any of the details. But she says it's kind of common in midlife, and that I believe it's related to thyroid function and lower thyroid function. So if it isn't something you looked into, Google that, go educate yourself, go over to Dr. Dodd's website, and I couldn't tell you what that is off the top of my head, but Google could tell you that, and see if you can find that. Her specialty is thyroid, and I do recommend people run her thyroid panels if they're really searching and looking and not getting the answers from a regular plain panel that's run by your conventional primary veterinarian. She has special panels, and your primary vet still draws the blood, but you send it off to her labs, and she's looking for a little bit of different things. I have not done that with my pack, but I have a lot of clients that do utilize that. So if you're struggling in the thyroid department, not getting anywhere with your primary vet and the primary blood panels, that might be something to check into for yourself and for your pup. Hello, Miss Keisha Clark. She is joining us. Hi, Chandel. It's been so long. Keisha asked, do dogs experience adrenal burnout like humans do? That's a really interesting question. And I don't have an answer for that. There are particular diseases that affect the adrenals in dogs called Addison's and Cushing's. They also affect people. But those are diagnostic diseases that we can check with blood work, get diagnosis, and treat however you choose to treat it, if it's through pharmaceuticals or other means. Okay. Now, adrenal burnout, or what we like to use on the people side of things of adrenal fatigue, right? Where we're just drained, right? We're just tired. We have just been running in that fight or flight for so long. I feel like I'm really dark. Let me see if I can. There, maybe better, worse, same. I don't feel like I'm sitting in the shadows. If it's too bad, let me know. But in people, we have this adrenal fatigue, and you'll listen to some MDs, and that's not a real diagnosis. That's not a real thing. It's not an actual diagnosis, But I think it's a real thing. We're exhausted. It's living in that fight or flight, that go, 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 go energy for too long. And and we get exhausted, right? We start producing so much cortisol, we're not funneling what we need to over to our other hormones of progesterone, estrogen, testosterone. And so then we get the hormonal imbalance. This is in people. I don't know if dogs do the same thing. Is that what we're seeing when we're seeing behavior things in our dogs? I don't know. We're also dogs are also generally altered, right? They're either spayed and neutered. Most people don't get spayed or neutered. I mean, women do have full hysterectomies, and that generally changes hormones too. So I don't have a really good answer, but it's got to be impacting, right? If our dogs are living with us, right? They live with us. We're high stress. We're worried. We're running from here to here to here. Are dogs picking up on that? Are they stressing those adrenals more and sooner than they were 20, 30, 40 years ago? Their stress has changed dramatically from, let's say, the last 40 years, living out on the farm, getting their own food, hanging out with people when we were out there, but otherwise doing dog stuff, like real dog stuff. And you even see that in third world countries if you travel, right? These dogs are out there. They're walking down the street. I've heard stories from clients, dogs standing in line to get into the grocery store. They don't get in, but they get a treat, right? Like, and I envision them, hey, I'm headed over to Mary's for lunch and Jim's for dinner, and I better get back home if I want to get in the house to sleep on a nice floor. If not, I'm out here doing dog stuff. Us people, I think we get more stressed out, and I think that's more how dogs actually would choose to live. So it's just sleeping when they can. They're getting food here and there. Some they catch, some scraps, some this. That was probably easier on their system and less stressful than living in a house, living in an apartment, running into the dog they don't like down the, that lives on the floor underneath them. Mom's freaking out about having to change jobs or having to move. So it's a different kind of stress, right? This day and age that we all are living in with our animals is very different than any other time in history. It is phenomenally different. And are we built for it? Some people say no. Look at the chronic disease. Look at our food chain for us and our animals. So I don't have it's a great question. It's a great question. I do wonder if we're seeing behavior stuff and other well, we could even go into some of the digestive issues that our animals having related to stress and always being revved up, always in that fight or flight, which dampens our digestive juices. And so we have a lot of sensitive stomachs, as vets like to call it. My golden retriever or my doodle with a sensitive stomach. I'm like, oh, it irritates me. Because that's not getting to the root of the issue. Where's the actual issue? But we produce less digestive juices. We're going to keep it simple like that. If our adrenals are up high and we're in fight or flight, we're not resting and digesting. Neither are our animals. So that's a great question. Thank you. Those are my thoughts off the top of my head. Chandel writes, it's kind of interesting that our pup has become much less worried about storms when he lost his hearing. Always figured it was a change in environmental pressure sort of thing. That's great. This is great. Because yes, so do our animals, do our dogs in particular. If anybody has a cat that reacts to the storms, pop it in the chat, either today, live, or in a replay. I would love to hear that because my cats and all the other cats I've had since I was a little kid never seem to care about the storms, right? They may not want to be out there in them if they were indoor, outdoor cats, which mine are currently just indoor cats by their choice. But cats don't seem to be affected. I would love to find out if anybody had a cat that's affected by a storm. Pop it in the chat. Would love to hear that. But back to our dogs and storms. Yes, I think, and this is just observation over the so many years I've been hanging out with dogs and their people, you have different kinds of dogs. They're the ones that are super sensitive to the environmental pressure or that barometric change. Like these are the dogs that know the storm is coming at 10 a.m. And our storms here in the Denver area show up 2, 3, 4 in the afternoon. Like these are the dogs that are already like starting to pace and starting to worry. The clouds may be building, but it's still sunny. There's no noise. There's no nothing. Those dogs know it's coming. I'm assuming, I'm guessing that's the barometric change. Some, I think, are aware of the cloud cover. It's my Doberman. If he's outside and the clouds start billowing up, I live in the foothills and you can actually see them all coming. It's actually very cool. He will start freaking out, like, let me in the house. But he just wants to get in the house. He's just like, it's going to rain out here. I don't want to get wet because he melts, He wants to get in the house. And once he's in the house, he's fine. And then there's the dogs that I hear the thunder. And that's the problem. That's Crosby. And so the dogs that I think hear everything and don't like the noises when they lose their hearing, they don't care about the storms anymore. And I'm so glad you mentioned that, Chandel, because my 15-year-old Jack mix, he doesn't care anymore. And he actually cared quite a bit, but he lost his hearing. He doesn't care anymore. So he's not a barometric change dog. He's not a visual dog. He was all hearing dog when it comes to storms. I don't know if anyone's like divided them into those. I don't know. I don't know if anyone's really looked at, okay, if it's barometric changes, what kind of symptom support can we give them? Meaning, how do we calm them down? Is that different than the ones that I don't like to hear the noise of the thunder? If it's not thundering and it's just raining, Crosby could care. No big deal. So yes, I think that's awesome. I was going to say something else about it, but it's gone. It might come back around. So Keisha says her cat Pearl does seem to get a little tense during noisy storms. Yeah, they don't seem to have issues. And I think when the storms get really noisy and that's what I was going to say, really dramatic, I think our we get a little worked up, right, as the people. So the animals are always going to feed off of that. So you've always got to manage yourself, manage your energy. What I try to do with Crosby is I let him on the bed. He's in the room. He's actually laying down in the bed. It's kind of stopped outside too. But I just do that. I don't talk to him. I do not encourage this in any way by it's okay, which is so hard for the peoples to not do with their animals. The it's okay syndrome, as I call it. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Well, that in their world is encouraging what they're doing. So the best thing you can do is ignore them. Super, super, super hard for us. But it is. It's fine. And sometimes I'm like, all right, dude, settle. But that energy of, all right, dude, settle is very different than it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. They hear the words, they do, but they're picking up on your irky jerky, oh my gosh, is there an actual problem? They say it's okay, but is there an actual problem? Energy behind that. Well, the problem is you don't like their behavior, but they don't quite make that connection, at least in my point of view. That was the other thing I was going to say. Then there's the dogs, because my first standard poodle, Jax, he was a peculiar fellow. He's still got a huge hunk of my heart, and he still is still around and contributes to my practice, and he's an awesome dog. But he didn't care about the firework noises, but if he saw the fireworks in the sky, I don't go outside. He wouldn't go outside. That later in life transferred to lightning. He didn't care about the thunder, but he was not cool about seeing the lightning in the sky. I think that's the minority. He was also, I don't know last time anybody's been in PetSmart, but they have signs hanging from the ceiling, or at least they did. I couldn't tell you last time I was in there. And he's like, no, there's things up there. I don't go in that store. And he did not like going in the PetSmart because of the hanging signs. He had a thing about stuff in the sky. Who knows? That's a little different for a dog. Most don't even notice all that stuff, but he did. Okay, cool. So yeah, that was a little bit about thunder and lightning and storms. And barometric pressure. The other thing we're talking about thunderstorms in summer, as we are finishing summer and heading into fall. And then unfortunately, at least in Colorado, we head into winter, which includes snow. From a chiropractic standpoint, I gotta say, I have not noticed in the summer the storms or that barometric pressure change. And I ain't a weather person, so if I'm getting this all wrong, I apologize. But I think everyone can kind of follow what I'm talking about. Does not seem to affect animals in their bodies as much, joints and all of that. A little bit, but not as bad as in the winter. So what I've noticed over the years is particularly my senior dogs, when we are going to have a big storm move through, 6 inches, 12 inches, 18 inches, because that's what happens here, they will get very sore. They know when that pressure is dropping and that storm is building. A lot of them will get kind of tired. They'll kind of get malaise. They're maybe a little limpy gimpy. And I get a lot of calls. I need to get them in right away. And which chiropractic helps with this. That is not a problem. I couldn't tell you exactly why it would help, or would it pass anyway in a day, after the storm. But getting your animal adjusted is always a good idea. I'll throw that in there. But I go, okay, we're going into winter. We're going into, I think the pressure drops. I think it's what it does. Like I said, I'm not a weather person. And your animals may become achy. Maybe they had a knee surgery and they get limpy on that leg, even though they're not a senior dog. Just like, I don't know, on TV or whatever. My husband will do, my knee's bothering me today. We must be getting a storm, that, right? Well, your animals do that too. So make a mental note, be aware of that as we go into, if you have winter, if you live somewhere where you have winter, that's going to start affecting their mobility. I actually, all my regulars, let's put it that way, senior or otherwise, that are coming in, when it's warmer, we usually try to spread it out 6-8 weeks. In the winter, we usually compress it. They're usually in every 3 to 4 weeks. Ice, snow, pressure changes. The season is just harder on the joints in general. So just keep that in mind with your senior guys in particular. And those that maybe have had a surgery or whatever, and that joint's a little more sensitive to all the changes. Just keep it in mind. Chiropractic helps. But maybe that's part of what you start adding into your pet health journal is sore today, storm this evening, whatever. And you make a couple notes in there along with whatever else you're keeping track of for your animals, that health journal, because we don't remember stuff very well. And notice, they're really achy. Storm came through. We didn't let them walk through 6 inches of snow. We kept them on the sidewalks. We shoveled an area in the grass, so they didn't have to go through the high snow. They got better. Our appointment with Dr. Andi is in next week, and you can tell that, we're sore, but then we feel better kind of thing. You can start to see patterns that you don't normally just remember. Keisha says Pearl hates ceiling fans. She'll not go in a room if there is one running. I get a little goofy on occasion. I'm like, is that some past lifetime thing? Who knows? I mean, death by a ceiling fan. But it's up in the air, right? And especially kitties. Kitties are actually more aware of what's in the sky because they are more susceptible to being picked up and taken off. Here in Colorado, the foxes, the coyotes, your outdoor cats, they don't live as long. They don't come home as often. But people don't really think about the owls. The owls are huge here in Colorado, and I've met some chubby kitties that the owl thought they could take on, but couldn't, and dropped them. And they had talon holes in them, and they lived. I mean, needed some vet help there, but so yeah, so kitties are a little more conscious of what's going on in the sky because they're prey to those predators, and in their DNA, they know this. Does it help to run humidifiers to put more moisture in the room or house? I don't know. I run humidifiers. Colorado's super, super, super dry, and it gets even more dry in the winter. Like in the winter, those that live here are like, my nose is dry and bleeding. This cracks. It's. I even heard a comedian once. He was like, land in DIA, and by the time you're walking out of the airport, you're like, all the moisture has just been sucked out of you. But I think again, it's each body is different. I think some joints, when we have animals that move here from, let's say, the East Coast or a more humid climate, and they come here, their joints are so happy to dry out a little bit. And then I think our dry joints could use some moisture, and does every animal need as much moisture as the other? I don't know, but never a bad idea. It's really not, especially if you live here in a drier climate. We run humidifiers all winter long. I mean, it's almost a necessity, and I know people have whole house humidifiers here in Colorado. If you live in a humid climate, probably not. But you also are not probably getting the super cold winters, right? If you're Mexico, Belize, Florida, you probably don't need them. So, but try it. You might like it. Try it. Your dog might like it. I was talking with somebody and their dog was having some breathing issues, and she didn't really want to do a humidifier, but she ended up doing a humidifier, and it really, really helped his breathing at night. So, you can always try that for many different reasons. Kind of the same reasons you would do it for your kids. You can do it for yourself. You do it for your pets. We get very myopic, right? Here in the Denver area, these are our top issues with our animals. And then when I get out, go to class, run into other people, talk with different animal chiropractors, different, veterinarians, you go down kind of where Keisha lives, Dallas, especially over to Houston, which is like tropical USA. They have a lot more yeast, and that's why their dogs, they're red, damp, itchy from yeast. We're just dry and itchy here. So it's different how you get different things in different places with your animals. So what I talk about here is skewed to my experience of working in a very dry climate in Colorado. Oh yeah. So Keisha's just reminding me, when you live in Dallas, Texas, and it's super humid, you stay inside and the AC dries out the house. So she runs the humidifier year round because of that. Yeah, you're always like freezing when you're in Texas, or when I go back to Chicago for classes, it's super humid and you're inside and you're like freezing from the AC. But you can't breathe outside, All right. Any last questions? That was awesome. We're gonna keep these Q&As fast and furious. I'm gonna do my best to be here most Tuesdays. That's all I can promise you folks right now, but there are tons of other things on the Animal Magic Care channel here on YouTube. So like the video, subscribe to the channel, all the things, right? But check out the other recordings. They're generally longer, full of great information and tidbits. Check them out. Again, write in the comments if you have any questions on a particular video. YouTube lets me know when that happens and I can get back with you, or Miss Keisha will get back with you. We'll keep an eye on it. Animalmagiccare.com is my website. If you are in the Denver metro area, I am still currently taking new clients, but not till October. I need to catch up on a few things. Had a trip already planned, had a bit of a family emergency to handle. So I'm taking a little bit of break on that, but I am still seeing clients here. If you're not here, and you still have questions and you want to sit down and chat, you want to discuss what's going on your animal's entire health history, and you're looking at doing XYZ surgery. Generally, ortho surgery is more what I know about, right? How chiropractic, how joints, how muscles, how tendons all work together, and how surgery can impact that. There's a time and a place for everything. We can have a chat about that. But animalmagiccare.com, get on the email list. I know we all want another email, right? But I do try not to email you more than once a week. Occasionally it happens. And I do tend to have content in there. Something new to learn, hopefully, because I really encourage everybody to educate, inform themselves on what's going to work for them or what's going to work for their animals. Be armed with that as you go in to talk with your veterinarian, gather information from them, but you get to choose. You get to choose what's going to work for you and your animals. Okay. Thank you, Chandel. She said emails are packed with education. I really educate. I'm throwing in even more how things in the body correlate to chiropractic and getting adjustments. You only have one nervous system. Your animals only have one nervous system. We want that in tip-top shape because, oh yeah, that nervous system runs your entire body, runs your animal's entire body. It's not just nervous system to muscles. It's nervous system to the spinal cord, to peripheral nerves, to muscles, to tendons, to soft tissue, to fascia, to organs, to, oh yeah, it runs your whole body. And you only have one of them. And so we want to keep our nervous system tip-top shape. Easiest, the best way to do that is find an animal chiropractor in your area, get your animals in, even if they are not having problems. Those are my most favoriteest appointments, especially if they're new clients. They're like, nope, we just wanted to get them in, get them checked over, and get them adjusted. Anything going on? Nope. Nothing that we can see, right? I'm currently struggling with sciatica down my right leg. My foot is randomly a little numb. I can tell you that, right? You know what I'm talking about. I can point to that area. I can tell my chiropractor. Your animals can't do that. They require us and our adjustments to find it, and if not, at least adjust, which can change that before it becomes a problem. So that's my little spiel on that. Animalmagicare.com. Come check us out. We're working on getting a blog up. We're working on creating a space for a community. So many things going on. So grateful that you're here tonight. So grateful you're here in the future. And I will be back. Yay for preventative care. The hardest sell is preventative care. I even fall down on the job for myself. And I know, right? It's a hard sell, but get out there. Preventative care for yourself and for your animals. Yep. Just do it. I will be back. I've got some travels coming up. I don't know. We'll be back in a couple Tuesdays or so. Until then, check out some of the older videos, pop in some questions. Would love to hear from you all. And thank you, Miss Keisha, Chandel, everyone else that is here now and in the future. And until next time, how much fun can we have with our animals? Bye-bye, folks.